There we go. Hello everyone and welcome to my second PTS review here. So I've been testing a lot of stuff. Like I said, expect a lot of videos for PTS content. If you haven't checked it already, I have done my front bar mass review of which traits and all of that are best on your front bar weapon. I'm going to quickly go over, and this will be a little less maths intense, the back bar weapon sets at this point. And we're going to work out again which I would prefer and which you may prefer as a back bar trait for a weapon. So this is probably going to be a much shorter video than the front bar. It's a little less complicated because there's a lot less similarity between the traits, I guess. But we're just going to go over the different stuff here and try work out exactly what is happening. So one thing I do need to unlock real fast is going to be bigger. There we go, good. All right, so in summary, the traits have all changed. Some of them are now very different. Some of them are similar. We're going to go over those. So first things first is going to be Infused. Infused is increasing your base weapon damage through the glyph. Now, why would I run this glyph? I think it makes a logical choice. Of course, as soon as you run a poison, you do not want to run the Infused enchant. If you're running a poison as your back bar weapon, Infused is already not a good choice. All right. The reason Infused is not a good choice, of course, is because, lo and behold, you're increasing your glyph enchant, right? You're not using a glyph. It's a waste of time. So, in summary, this one is going to give us 452 weapon damage against 348. So we're going to gain about 104 weapon as spell damage. That's also buffable. So that's going to go up by 20%. 20% of that is going to give you roughly 21 more. So you're going to gain about 125 weapon damage extra, up pretty much 100% of the time, going with Hunding's Rage. So we're going to write that one down. I am going to open another Word document here just for the sake of anyone interested in the maths. So Infused equals 125 wep/spell damage back bar. All right, and obviously it's going to carry to your front bar. That's an interesting addition to Infused, because the fact that you can carry it to your your front bar when you proc the glyph makes that a little more useful in that it's going to be essentially benefiting you both bars. But of course, again, any build to use the poison in, Infused is a no-go trait back bar. Next trait is going to be Nerhoned. So Nerhoned, although it doesn't increase your glyph, is going to increase your base weapon damage. It's going to increase it by 200 on your back bar. You can see that on the tooltips there, both Hunding's Rage, they're both the same. But this one has a weapon damage of 1335, whilst this one has a weapon damage of 1535. So we're getting an increase of weapon damage by 200, one bar only. Would I ever run that back bar? No, unless my back bar is my healing bar. And a big example of that is going to be, for example, the difference between Stam Nightblades. So, if I'm a Stam Nightblade running two-hander and bow, I want my healing to benefit me on the two-hander. There's no use of having that healing on the bow aside from maybe Vigor. It's not as useful. So at that point, having Infused is always going to be a better trait in the case of Infused versus Nerhoned for the other bar, because it's carrying forwards to my healing bar. However, if I was to run with dual wield and two-hander, I'm only losing 75 weapon damage on my front bar abilities. That's marginal, and it's always up. I'm going to get more damage from my dual abilities. Sorry, I'm going to lose 125 weapon damage on my front bar on my dual abilities. However, I'm going to increase my base heal by 75 weapon damage more. So at that point, it's a little closer if you're running two-handed dual wield, because your healing is going to be on your dual bar. Would I run Nerhoned at that point? No. I would still run Infused. So basically, what I'm saying here, in summary for anyone who doesn't care about maths, I would never run Nerhoned as my back bar weapon next patch. I think Infused is best so far. Next trait is Decisive. So Decisive, when you gain ultimate, you have a 40% chance to gain one additional ultimate. So how is this going to work out second by second? And again, I'm not going to write too much down here. We already know Nerhoned is worse and that Infused is the better trait, right? So we're going to write that down quick. Nerhoned equals no, basically. So, Decisive. In terms of raw ultimate game, Decisive is actually going to be a little better than it was. So, whenever you light attack, you're going to gain ultimate. You've got a 40% chance to increase it. Now, let's take a really generic setup. And I'm going to ask my stream for this. And we're talking about a non-ulti-gen based build. A really generic build that has no interest in ulti-gen. Stream, there's like 300, 400 people here. How much would you guys say you're gaining ultimates? How often would you say you gain one ultimate? Every second, every half second, every 2 seconds? What do you reckon? So you've got your light attack that's going to gain it. You've got skills that are going to gain it. I personally believe that you probably gain one ultimate per second, give or take. Alright, that's just my personal opinion. So what that means is, roughly every 5 ticks of ultimate, you're going to have a 200% chance. You're going to get 2 ticks more. So it's going to give you a 2 in 5 extra chance to gain ultimate. That's actually pretty solid. So, where is Decisive going to be useful? Decisive is going to be really useful on every build that's based on ulti regen. I think a DK is going to see huge benefit by backbar and Decisive. Backbar and Decisive is going to give you a lot of ulti gen now. It's instantly beneficial. Any build that's built around ulti-gen, I think Decisive is going to be brilliant. So if you're running setups with, like, you know, Bloodspawn, Taba's Favor, Shorks, a dodge to proc it, a lot of blocking, a lot of light attacking. If you've got all of that stuff going on at once, instantly Decisive is going to be really good. You're going to have huge extra ulti regen. 40% is not bad. I do like that. But again, keep in mind, you're going to lose 125 weapon damage here. So the comparison is close. You have to decide, do I want the weapon damage? Do I want the ultimate? But I think that Decisive now is a more viable trait as a backbar trait. It's interesting, and I do think I'm going to see that used, especially by DKs. I think it's good. Defending. Alright, so I can give you the raw maths to this off the bat from my last video with the front bar. If you didn't check that out and you're interested in the maths of the front bar set, definitely go for it. Defending is going to lower the damage you take on your backbar by 5.3%. It's pretty hard to compare that to healing, but essentially, if your healing is already really high, you don't need ultimate, and your damage is already really high, defending is going to be the best, because it's going to give you more time to react to put a heal in. That's going to be where defending is useful. It's going to give you more time to react to heal. Defending does have its place, but I personally think that I am going to prefer Infused or Decisive for me. I don't think that I'm buying defending as much as before, but there are still going to be builds that are going to see the benefit of defending. I just don't think it's going to be for me anymore. So that's just my preference, each to their own. Precise. So Precise is going to be very similar to our Nerhoned in that it's going to increase our backbar healing. We could do the maths very simply here. Precise increases the crit. We worked out the maths again in our previous front bar video. Check that out. That basically Nerhoned all the time is going to give best overall damage unless you're using the shadow. So would I run Precise backbar? No, not for me. Final trait to go over here is obviously Powered. So Powered is going to increase your healing done raw by 9%. So that's always going to increase your healing. Now what that means mathematically is we're going to increase our base heal by 9% rather than the crit chance going up by 90%, which is going to increase 50% of the base heal, essentially, by that. Well, not even that, actually less than that. Powered is going to be an interesting trait. I don't think it's useless. I don't honestly know enough about healing to work out the exact maths here. But what I would say is that if you are going to be healing a ton on your back bar, Powered is probably going to outweigh any of the damage sets for healing. So I think in summary for this video, again, it was a shorter one. To decide which trait you want on your back bar or your front bar, you want to look at it this way. In terms of raw output of healing, Infused is the best. Except compared against Powered. So if you want raw healing, Powered is the best only on one bar. Overall stats, I think Infused is looking really hot. And anytime you want ultimate, I think Decisive is looking really solid. Outside of that, defending does have its place, but I think it's slightly outweighed by the other traits. Again, feel free, bang it in the comments if you find one set or one trait you think I'm wrong. Feel free to suggest it constructively. Really throw that one in there. And again, I hope you found the video useful. Hit the like button if you did, please. It does help it a ton. It does help the exposure, and it's going to help. Yeah, there you go. So the traits are changing. It's interesting. Decisive, Infused are looking my personal favorites with backbar, but each to their own.